Sorry about that. My camera was full, so it just cut itself off, and I apologize for that. So this will be the part 2 of bringing equipment and materials out to the land. And it's a beautiful day. It's Thursday morning. I mean, finally the sun came out, and it's starting to warm up. This is the warmest we've been in God, probably 2 weeks. It's been so cold here, 19 degrees, 20 degrees, things like that. But yeah, this has just turned out to be a beautiful day. And of course the sun's really spiking this camera. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so getting the materials in. And oh, I knew there's something I wanted to tell you guys. This is what happened this morning. I'm over here unloading everything on the land, and this guy in this white pickup truck, he's drives up into the driveway, and he's taking photos of the sign, Stonehenge. And anyway, I'm sitting there, I waved at him and stuff like that, and I walked down the road because I had everything gated up so he couldn't get in. So I walked the 400 foot and met him. At the front of the road, and he introduced himself, and he said he was with the Planning Commission. Well, how about that, huh? Planning. Yeah, that's what he told me. He goes, Tom, he says, we've gotten a lot of complaints out here about there's going to be a development going in over here. And I says, really? I said, no, I'm the owner. And he goes, well, here's one of the rules. He says, if you put up a sign on any land, that sign is some sort of a designation. So that designation is what everybody was in fear about. They thought, oh, Stonehenge, it's got to be a neighborhood, but it's not. I just haven't had a chance to put farm on the name, on the sign, Stonehenge Farms with an S, and or farms at Stonehenge. I just haven't figured that one out yet. But it was funny because I told him, I said, you know what? I said, and the guy's name is Mark. I said, Mark, I've got your card. He goes, really? How'd you get that? I said, I was at your office, and I spoke with one of your other guys there. When I signed the deed over, the first thing I did, I keep telling you guys, I'm a smart guy. I'm ex-military, and I was in the business, in the corporate world for 28 years of my life. So one thing I know is I know all about contracts and liability and anything that pertains to, just liability. You've got so much liability as a consumer and as a producer that it doesn't matter what label you go by. There's always some sort of liability. And then you got the law, and then you got to also know your restrictions. So I had all that stuff in mind when I was buying this place because I did so much research. And I went down to the City Planning Commission in HILLSBOROUGH, and I met Mark's comrade at arms there at the Planning Commission, and I told him exactly what I wanted to do out here and exactly what the intent was. So he told me, he goes, oh, by the way, here's all our cards. He gave me all their business cards. So I says, cool. I said, anyway, I said, okay, so what I'm doing out here is cool. It's a farm. It's going to stay a farm, unrestricted, undeveloped farmland. And he goes, that's right. You can pretty much do whatever you want to as long as you're not hooking up the city any utilities. And I says, good. I said, that's what I wanted to hear. And, of course, just because people file complaints, the city, the county, whatever municipality is involved, they got to react to the complaints. So that's why I got the little visit this morning from Mark and the Planning Commission. And he goes, I got nothing on record about this being a subdevelopment. And there was no permits filed. And I said, that's right, because I didn't file any permits. The rating that it is, RA or AR, rural agriculture, farm, whatever that rating is, the bottom line is that's the way it's going to stay. It's going to turn into an organic farm in the front. And, and I'll probably have a small prepper community out here. And he goes, really? And I go, yeah. He goes, cool. He goes, you have yourself a nice day, Tom. And I said, Mark, you have yourself a nice day. I called my buddy Joe Jr. and told him the story. I said, hey, guess who who visited us today? And of course, he's 23 years old. He freaked out. He goes, what do they say? And I calmed him down, told him the whole story, and he was like, man, that's cool. He said, I can't believe, he goes, you had his card, you knew who he was, you know what he was going to ask you, you already had all the answers. And I said, yeah, that's called planning. Now remember, folks, planning is part of prepping, preparing for any unforeseen inevitability. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It means that you're prepping for the situation, any situation, and it could fall under any category. Okay, just remember that. It'll fall under any category. But you, the individual, you better know your rights and limitations of the law and how you fit within that structure of the law. So when I bought this place, I had my act together. I already knew what I wanted to do. I already knew how I was going to play this thing, and I knew exactly what rating I wanted. I knew exactly all the pros and cons of farm, unrestricted, rural land, mineral rights, water, resources, whatever. I've got complete rights to all minerals. It doesn't matter. Water, and that's the way this thing goes. I can cut the lumber down, do whatever I want to, sell it. I can build whatever I want.